Hello, bass players. Today we are going to be moving on to page 4 in Essential Elements, Book 2, and we are going to be working on the notes of the G major scale on this page and also the next page. So let's first go over the notes that we'll be playing today and for the rest of these 2 pages. We start on the E string, that's your lowest string, with the second finger in first position. So if I've put tape on your bass, you should have first position tape here for the first finger and the fourth finger. Do know that there is a note in between, and that's the note we'll start with today. And there's also a note back here, we call that half position. There should be a half step past first position, another tape, which is your third position finger tape. So there should be a first and fourth there. Again, there is a note in between. And then the next tape would be for your harmonic, and there are 3 notes in between your fourth finger tape and the third position and your harmonic. So as we navigate the notes and learn the different notes on our fingerboard, we're going to be using the tapes and then also talking about when they're between the tapes. So we start on the note that is between the 2 first position tapes on your E string, your lowest string. That note is G. And when you're playing on the string, remember the string vibrates very, very wide and slow. So move the bow very slow and put a lot of weight into it. The next note is open A. That's your second string. And then we've got the first finger B. Again, second finger is C. Then we go open D. First finger is E. Fourth finger is F sharp. And then open G. So those are the notes of the G major scale, and as we play these 2 pages, you want to be really working on learning to associate the notes on the bass with the way that they look on the page. So let's go ahead and start with G major scale and around. This is number 10 in the book. We're going to play it along with the backing track, and let's go ahead and play it together, and then we'll try it in around. Playing a scale from the book and it's supposed to go in around, we do not repeat the top note the way that we normally do when we play it in class. Let's go ahead and try that one in around. If any of these exercises go too fast for you, I would encourage you to set it at the slow tempo. In fact, you can go ahead and click that slow button and then it'll put everything slow until you move it into the regular tempo. So let's go ahead and play it one more time. This time I'll let you start and I will echo after you in around. Good. And as you're getting used to the bass, it is totally fine to be looking at your fingers while you're playing. That can really help you to get your fingers in the right position. And you should have your hand at a position, your bass should be at the right height, so that your first finger and fourth finger should be really kind of up adjacent to your eyebrows and your mouth. So you don't want to have it up here or down here. You want to have it so that it really first position lines up with your face pretty squarely. The next one is G major arpeggio. We start with G, low G, then we play B, D is open, and then G is also open. So the notes of the G major arpeggio are G, B, and D, and we play each one of those notes is on a different string. This next exercise is called scale intervals, and this is a really great one for learning how to play in tune. We're going to go ahead and put it on the slow tempo for the first time through. And an interval is basically the distance between two notes. When you go from the first note of the scale up to the second note of the scale, we call that a second. When you go from the first note to the third note, we call that a third. First to fourth note, we call that a fourth, and so on. Until you get up to the eighth, which is going from the G to the high G, that we call an octave because they're both G's. They're both the same letter name and the same pitch, essentially, just one happens to be higher than the other. So let's go ahead and play scale intervals. I'm going to go ahead and click the slow button. Especially on the bass, it's really helpful to slow things down when you're learning them for the first time. When you're ready, you can go ahead and try it up to tempo. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Nicely done. The final selection on this page is a Revolutionary War era song called Chester. This one uses a lot of slurs, so you're doing a lot of quarter notes where there are two on one bow. You're essentially moving the bow in half notes, but then often you'll change note on the quarter note. So just make sure that you're using a slow, steady bow. You're using maybe a little more bow for this one, and that you keep the bow moving as you do the string crossings and as you're adding or subtracting fingers. Okay, nicely done. Don't be frustrated if you can't get all the way through that on the first try. I would say go ahead and kind of work through the notes first, get the melody in your ear, practice how to navigate it on your fingerboard. I know that this might be kind of a new instrument to you, so this is a fairly challenging song if you're just starting out on bass. But just stick with it and do the best you can, and if you do not work past the slow tempo of Chester, that's totally okay for now. Just do the best you can within the time that you have. But have a good time practicing the bass. This is a really lovely melody. Chester is a really lovely melody to play on the bass, and once you get it down, it's really nice when you get a chance to play melodies on the bass. Happy practicing and good luck.